Welcome to Physical Therapy. My name is Kurt.
And I'm Sam.
And I'm Bobby.
Firstly, I just want to say thank you to everyone who is listening to this podcast. This is our 5th episode, and it's been so fun to launch it and get feedback from people. Please keep it coming. Please give us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you're hearing this. That stuff's really helpful. But yeah, thank you.
I would like to thank the one person who commented on our Reddit post. You were very nice.
Yes, thank you so much to, what was it, War Slayer?
Something along those lines. War Party?
War Dog? War...
Hold on.
War Child?
War Player. Shout out.
My man.
War Player, thank you for your comment. Also, according to the analytics, there's people all over the world listening to this podcast. We have gone global. So if you're listening to this podcast anywhere outside of North America, shout out to you. Thank you so much.
Helping build one global community. Thank you.
That is our goal with Physical Therapy. Guys, we're going to start today's episode with a listener question.
Whoa.
Well, don't get too excited. It's sort of rigged, but it is real on some level. Chicago-based...
Do we know this listener personally?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Chicago-based musician and personal dear friend of ours, Billy Jesus, asks, if we weren't collecting discs, what would we collect?
Oh, no.
What if we have other...
Yeah, yes, that's built in, Bobby. So...
Oh, perfect.
If you have another collection, we want to hear about that.
Mr. Jesus, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jesus.
What a great question.
Bobby, what do you collect?
I collect used books. I love exploring nooks and crannies around different cities and finding different editions, different personalizations of used books.
Any particular genre?
Gosh, all novels. Exclusively.
Okay.
Beyond that, I'm sort of tearing through literature, I'm always tearing through cinema. I've torn through cinema. And so I'll find some sort of criteria or some kind of list of the best novels of whatever period, or, the Pulitzer, the fiction winners of every year, the Booker Prizes. So it's fun. My collections it's very diverse. I'm looking at it right now. It's very wild.
Does it rival your film collection, Bobby? Does it define you in the same way?
I think it defines me in a different way. It's so different because the irony is that I love my physical media in pristine shape. Absolutely pristine. The cases, the artwork, no fading. Sometimes it's hard to find a perfect case, and there's a real hunt in that. But the used books, they're already used. There's nothing, as long as it's held together in some conceivable fashion. So having that juxtaposition is interesting.
Sam, how about you?
Man, what do I not collect? We'll put it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, you've known me for years. I have a record collection that kind of grows and becomes smaller fairly regularly. I used to collect comics. I'm not really into that anymore. I have a toy collection, mainly toys that I grew up with in the 90s, but all packaged, and then some Legos. Last year or 2 years ago, maybe, Kurt, you and I got really into buying vintage movie posters.
Yeah.
Which is great and super fun, but I have about 7 to 10 poster tubes in the basement right now that have a shit ton of posters in there that I got to figure out what to do with.
Which one do you want to hang up the most? Which one is I'm waiting to hang this one?
I know the answer.
I have this incredible Italian poster of an Indonesian horror movie called Primitives that I believe Severin put out a year or two ago. And I only bought it because it was on this auction website. And it's huge. It's 6 feet by 4 feet or something.
That's massive.
It's in 2 pieces, right?
Yeah, it's 2 pieces. And the auction was about to close, and it was at $21. So I was like, yeah, I'll bid $25 on this. And then I won it.
Fantastic.
And I'm a huge horror person, but I'm not a huge cannibal horror movie person. And so I have this massive...
Oh, but I'm sure you could find one you love.
It won't be that hard. But yeah, I have a massive Primitives poster that I actually really want to frame. But it's going to cost a pretty penny. So I'm holding off, but it will happen.
It's a huge space to take up.
Kurt, what else do you collect?
Yeah, I mean, we have pretty similar answers here, Sam. I have a growing action figure collection, but that's just based on nostalgia. I collect action figures that I had when I was a kid, but I, buy them new and keep them in the package now. Mostly Batman, the animated series. But the real problem is movie posters, original movie posters. I, for a long time, could not stop buying them, but luckily I ran out of room, like on the walls. I frame most of them, so that helps. I don't really like collecting them and just keeping them rolled up.
Trust me, I'm trying to change that.
Yeah.
What poster is your favorite, Kurt? I think I know the answer, but I want to hear you say it.
It's a good question. I have a Halloween poster that I love, and this one's actually a Mondo, but I have like the Mondo poster they did. Laurent Durier, I believe is his name, the artist, did for The Master. Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master, which is just this like hypnotic spiraling image of Philip Seymour Hoffman with Amy Adams' arm around his shoulder. And then also we have like a 3-sheet of Chinatown, which is, I think, taller than me. It's gigantic. It's basically 3 like standard 27 by 41 1-sheet poster sizes if they were on their side and on top of each other. That's why they call it a 3-sheet.
That's the one I was thinking of. It's a beauty. Also, Kim, I want to hear from you because you collect things too.
I also collect used books, namely like noir titles that I am searching for on vintage hardback. So those are fun to acquire. And then I do collect wine as well as I sit in my little wine chamber. Yeah, so those kinds of things. But I just live in Kurt's museum.
In a glass box.
Yeah, he would love if he could seal me up every night.
He frames you so well. But hey, what flattery.
I love it.
I have another question though for you. What is your favorite of Kurt's collections?
Oh, well, I've had to embrace it all, and I give my opinions in a way that I can live with it.
Kim is incredibly supportive of my sickness. She has really made space for it.
Well, and I must say, you must enjoy the wine too, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
You benefit from each other's.
Exactly.
I mean, most evenings are, spent picking out a movie from the movie library and pulling out a wine from the wine cellar, and life is pretty good.
It's pretty dreamy.
Yeah, there's way worse times to spend. Fucking Christ, who cares?
Thank you, Billy Jesus, for your question. Everyone head over to Spotify and listen to Billy Jesus's new single, Could Have Been. He fucking rules.
He's so good. He's so talented. Do yourself a favor.
Should we talk announcements?
What do we got?
Ooh, we've got some announcements. Sam, how pissed off are you that they're doing Team America in 4K, Paramount?
Dude, so I've bought this movie like 4 times, and I just recently bought it on my last trip to LA with Kurt and Kim. I'm like, I guess I'm kind of pissed off, but at the same time, who cares? It's puppets. Like, I don't need to upgrade it again.
I can't wait to get it and text you about how good it looks.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to the text.
Bobby, are you a fan of Team America World Police?
I am. I saw it later in life, but I remember seeing the trailers when I thought I was too young to see it, and I thought it looked so dirty and so fun. And then I actually got to see some of the props.
Oh, cool.
And set pieces for the movie at Paramount. Then I watched it then, and it's hilarious.
How big are they, the characters?
They're about 2 feet tall.
Okay.
A foot tall.
Okay.
Maybe a foot tall. They're puppets. I mean, they are like genuine puppets. That's the greatest part of it.
Some of the most classic lines ever in that movie.
What year is it? 2006?
Yep. It was like right at the tail end of our high school time.
Yeah, just an all-timer.
I saw it at the $2 theater in my town, and at one point fell out of my chair because I was laughing so hard, and had to grab my stomach and run to the bathroom so I didn't piss in my pants.
Oh my God.
The sex scene montage is hilarious.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so extreme.
Maybe we'll do it on the show. We might have to do that.
I'm in.
The craftsmanship is really it's amazing. There's a lot to talk about.
Oh, it's so well voiced. It's just hilarious.
Get out of the street, you fucking bum.
Warner Brothers apparently this year is releasing The Terminator on 4K.
I just saw that.
I was shocked.
Me too.
I fell out of my seat. I really did.
So for the listeners, we are going to be doing, hopefully, a James Cameron themed episode soon. Recently, they released 4Ks of True Lies and The Abyss, which hadn't ever come out on Blu-ray in the United States. And they also re-released Aliens in 4K. But there's been a big sort of supply chain problem with them. Not everybody has received them yet. So we were planning to be doing that, I think tonight or even last week. But coming soon, once we all get the discs, we'll dive into some James Cameron at home. They're apparently kind of controversial transfers. So who knows with this 4K from Warner Brothers, The Terminator. It is a different studio, but I'm sure he's involved, James Cameron. So hopefully it looks good.
I was hoping that one day we would get like a boutique label doing The Terminator, just because it's so unlike kind of some of his other movies.
Yeah.
In terms of its budget. It's way more like Halloween than it is Terminator 2.
Definitely. It seems perfect for Arrow.
Yeah.
Like, it sucks that they're not doing it, but
100%. Maybe they'll be dropping a UK one.
maybe.
Maybe they got the rights out there.
Kino Lorber announced a 4K of Abel Ferrara's Bad Lieutenant, another one that I think we'll do on the show, so I don't want to say too much about, but I'm excited for that.
And C-17. I've never seen it.
Neither have I. I'm really excited to check that disc out.
Me too. I've seen the sequel, actually. The Herzog one.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that with Nicolas Cage?
Nicolas Cage. Oh, yeah. Eva Mendes, I think.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll do sort of the two of them combined for that episode so we can talk about both.
Is there a 4K of the Werner Herzog one?
No.
The theme should be toxic masculinity.
Top 3, toxic masculinity.
Let's find a third to throw in there. I'm sure there's one.
I doubt it. That seems a really hard thing to find in cinema.
The last one I noticed was a 4K of Rango, which is, what's his name?
Gore Verbinski.
Gore Verbinski, thank you.
The guy who made The Ring and The Mexican.
And also Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, he did. He's an Oscar winner, man.
He's a great director. I mean, not every one of his movies is great, but
Yeah, he won animated film. He's done different mediums, different budgets. He works, man. He works for that dollar.
let's not forget about the Walt Disney Company's The Lone Ranger
With He Who Shall Not Be Named.
×2. How many?
Oh yeah, ×2. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's bury that film.
But Rango, have you guys seen Rango? Sam, I know you have.
Rango is incredible.
It's been a long time.
I saw it with you two in the theater.
Wow.
Whoa, really?
Oh, yeah. I was there a million years ago.
Yeah.
All right, Kimbo.
Rango's an animated film about what is he?
He's a chameleon.
Chameleon.
Yeah.
But it's like a sort of action Western, also sort of in the style of Hunter S. Thompson, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. But yeah, just a really funny, action-packed, well-made animated film. And there's great special features on the Blu-ray that I'm sure will be on this new transfer that shows the recording process, which is like a lot of these actors in a real soundstage acting out the scenes as opposed to just being in like a sound booth. So there's a ton of energy behind the performances. There's a bunch of great actors doing the voices and, animation on 4K with HDR, Dolby Vision, all that stuff. It just is one of the more stunning examples of the format. So looking forward to Rango.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it again, especially on that format.
So this episode is, I think, going to be the first of a series of shame pile episodes. Now, for normal people, Sam, why don't you explain what a shame pile is?
Okay, I think this is a copyrighted term between you and I, Kurt.
Yeah, all rights reserved.
Shame piles are piles of movies that you own and haven't seen. It's different. Well, I guess there's different types of shame piles. I personally have 3. One of the shame piles is movies that I've seen but haven't re-seen on the format that I bought it on. So I have like shame piles that have certain titles in it that I've already seen but have not watched the new disc. And then I have another shame pile across the hall that is just a pile of movies that I own and have never seen.
What's the third one?
And that is the shame pile that I have never seen is just split into 2 different piles.
Why?
I don't know. I ran out of...
Oh, you mean it's literally just 2 piles? It's the same category, but 2 piles?
Yeah, but it's like, I have a shelf, because at one point I was like, the shame pile will now live on a shelf. And I filled up that shelf, and then I kept buying more movies, and they just needed to sit next to it now.
I think I forgot that yours is a literal pile.
Yeah, dude.
This is your term. You copywrote this.
They're all sprinkled all over my floor, and I just dig through them and pull one out. I mean, it's a stack. It's not like...
It's a neat stack.
A stack is a pile.
It's kept... yeah, it's kept nicely, kind of. But yeah, it's like a new release place at a video store. You just walk up there and you find whatever catches your eye and you pull it out and you put it on for that night.
Mine is very heavily mental. I would say I have mental piles, but the physical copies are scattered everywhere. They are integrated immediately in their space. So,
okay.
Kurt, yours is all on a shelf at this point?
Yeah, my shame pile is down in the wine room that Kimberly's in, and it is pretty well organized, but it's kept separate. So they don't get brought into the regular library until they have been watched and QC'd for any defects.
I also want to make it clear that my shame pile, it has a rhyme and reason to it. I know where stuff is that I'm looking for.
But people, these are big piles. These are what most people would probably consider a collection. Sam, how many movies do you think are in your shame pile?
Out of the pile of movies that I've seen that I just need to rewatch, I would say there's probably, let's say like 25, and that's with some box sets. Out of the actual shame pile of haven't seen, close to 100.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I haven't counted it, but I would say close to 100, if not over, which is fucking absurd.
And this is essentially just because we're buying movies faster than we can watch them.
100%. Mine is it's like hundreds.
When I was in LA in October, Kurt and I were driving to the desert. Kurt was driving and I was on my phone looking up sales of Blu-rays at the time. We were talking through it. And you turned to me and you went, why do either of us continue to buy movies? It would take more than like 3 months to watch everything that we have. And that's true and horrifying.
I'm worried if I were to sit down right now and watch everything, I would die of old age before I finished watching everything I have.
I started separating certain titles out to double features, like, oh, I'm going to watch these two together because they're similar in some way. And that got too intimidating that now they just sit there together.
You could have spent the time watching one of the shame pile movies, but instead you just organized it for 4 hours.
Oh, that will waste a whole evening. It'll just be like, let me organize my collection. Let me just look at everything. I can't focus on a movie. We'll also have movies on in the background while I do my organizing.
Oh, yeah.
Does that count?
Well, that's usually when I put on like, okay, I've seen, X film 10 times. I'll put that on while I organize these movies.
That you haven't seen once.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely. Those are bonus features, man. Those are featurettes, interviews, Criterion, dialogues, subtitled even.
Or that's when you throw on like the commentary track for a movie that you're really familiar with. That's always fun.
Mm-hmm. I think I blame the pandemic time for it. I feel like that's when I was losing my mind and getting Blu-rays shipped to my house every 3 days.
Yeah, that became unhinged.
I did not used to have this problem. I used to buy a movie like every once in a while over like a decade and slowly amassed a collection. During the pandemic, I lost my mind, I think. And now, as you said, Sam, I did the math at one point and I will never catch up unless I seriously pause. But who's going to pause when Team America is coming out in 4K?
I've been good lately of, not buying a bunch of titles. And then we started the pod and I felt the need to spend $6,000 on JFK. Thank you, Bobby.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you satisfied?
I haven't watched it yet. It's now sitting in a shame pile somewhere.
But you bought it.
That's a lot of real estate for a shame pile too, Sam. That's a big box.
Also, what an endorsement.
It's a lot, guys. When I opened that package the other day, because I couldn't just buy JFK. I'm like, well, if I'm doing a shout order, I might as well get these 3 other titles. They also got me though, because they have a giant headline on their webpage. That's like, this is our going out of print sale.
The worst. They got me too.
Here we are.
Do you ever pick a movie from your shame pile based on the size of the box and the amount of matter you're going to be able to remove from the pile?
So many times.
Big box stuff like Arrow limited editions, I pick those first because then the pile gets smaller.
Yeah. This episode is going to be a bit more similar to our shelf pulls of 2023, our favorite releases of 2023. This one is the first volume of our shame pile picks. So in this episode, we all chose 2 movies from our shame pile to finally watch and talk about. Kurt, why don't you start us off? What is your first shame pile pick?
Last Friday night, Kimberly was out of town and I drank some beers and watched the 30th anniversary 4K of a 1993 Rennie Harlin film called Cliffhanger.
Hey.
Cliffhanger stars Sylvester Stallone, John Lithgow, Michael Rooker, and Janine Turner. And I'm going to read the back of this 4K Blu-ray box. For Rocky Mountain Rescue, the mission is almost routine. Locate 5 climbers. With the woman he loves and his best friend, Gabe Walker, Sylvester Stallone, braves the icy peaks only to discover that the distress call is really a trap set by merciless international terrorist Eric Quaylen. Against explosive firepower, bitter cold, and dizzying heights, Walker must outwit Quaylen in a deadly game of hide and seek. This movie is fucking awesome.
It's so awesome, dude.
I had seen it, I think, as a kid. I only really remember the opening scene, which involves like a dizzying rescue mission for 2 climbers who are stuck on top of the tallest, skinniest mountain ever. It's also parodied in Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. But I didn't really remember anything after that, to be honest. I knew John Lithgow was in it, was the villain. It's essentially an action-adventure film that takes place in the Rocky Mountains, but it was all shot in the Dolomites in Italy. And it seems like 95% of this movie is shot on location, and 90% of those shots are filmed all the way stop down on the lens, meaning that the depth of field is sort of endless. Like there'll be a medium shot of an actor who's in focus and a mountain 10 miles away that's also in focus. So it is incredibly immersive photography. It is one of the most beautiful places in the world, it looks like, that they're shooting in. And on 4K in HDR, it's gotta be, in my opinion, one of the best I've seen. One of the best of the formats.
Damn.
The sound is amazing, and it's just full of these practical effects, practical stunts.
Isn't that magic, really? I mean, you watch these 90s movies that just capture lightning in a bottle in a weird way because it's the practical elements. There's real thrill and excitement, I can imagine, making a movie like that in exotic locations, not, CGI.
Yeah, it looks like an intense production experience. There's a very funny special feature on the Blu-ray disc that comes in the package. It was made at the time of release, and it's called Stallone on the Edge, and it's basically like production footage, and then it keeps cutting back to... Have you seen this, Sam?
No, I haven't.
It keeps cutting back to Stallone on set shooting Demolition Man. So he's like in his Demolition Man wardrobe, just being like super quippy about what happened while they were shooting and like commenting on his own jokes from the shoot footage. It's absurd, but very fun to watch, and just gives you an insight into like behind the scenes of this huge budget practical extravaganza from 1993.
The last time I watched it, it wasn't on 4K, but I was mesmerized by that movie. The opening scene in particular, the whole movie is great, but that scene, as you were saying earlier, is shot so well. My hands were sweating the last time I watched it. It's scary, man.
Yeah, I talked a lot about Face Off in our 2023 favorites episode, and it's a similar kind of satisfaction, I guess. The stunts, the explosions, it all being real. This one, though, is I might even rank it ahead of it just as a disc because of the environment. Face Off looks great, but a lot of it is shot inside of a studio or wherever, interior locations. This one is just, you feel like you are truly transported to the fake Rocky Mountains. I also want to mention there's an aerial heist in the movie where there is, a group of bad guys stealing money from airplane to airplane. And I read that one of the stuntmen who is required to sort of zip line on some level between 2 airplanes was paid $1 million to do the stunt. And at least at the time was in the Guinness Book of World Records as the highest paid single stunt. And I didn't remember seeing that scene ever. So it was a blast.
I've never seen it.
Oh, Bobby.
I'm sorry.
You should check it out, Bobby. You should check it out.
No, I will. My only exposure to it was The Vertical Limit.
Oh, God, yeah.
DVD.
Yeah.
It was special edition. They had a trailer gallery of not just like upcoming movies or, contemporaries. It was like, this is another cliff themed thrill. If you liked this, go back to this 90s movie. And of course I watched it. And I was like, wow, this is not as new as Vertical Limit.
Yeah.
I think I'm just going to keep watching Vertical Limit. So,
I think it's probably better than Vertical Limit.
I would imagine. Believe me, I'm about to do a deep dive.
Having just rewatched Vertical Limit, it's way better than Vertical Limit.
When did you rewatch Vertical Limit?
Hey man,
That's hilarious. I'm literally laughing out loud.
you get a little stoned at the end of the night, you got nothing else to watch because your shame pile doesn't exist, and you just put on Vertical Limit.
Yeah, the only way to forget your shame pile is to stream Vertical Limit. I should say that this 30th anniversary of Cliffhanger is actually only available as a steelbook.
Oh no.
I know how you two feel about steelbooks, but they did like a 25th anniversary that was not a steelbook. Although I don't know if it's a fully different transfer, but I know that Dolby Vision is only available on the 30th anniversary. And I compared at least the Blu-ray.com reviews of the two, and the 30th was marked higher than the original. So if you're looking for Dolby Vision, make sure you get the steelbook. There you go. That's my first one. Sam, what's yours?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, I separate certain... there's a shelf of my shame shelf that is all double features. So I picked two that are related, as in they're both giallo movies. Giallo means yellow in Italian, and so it referred to a series of pulp novels that had yellow background colors so people could kind of identify them from afar. And a giallo movie is similar, where it's kind of pulpy, it's a thriller, sometimes a slasher, sometimes a whodunit, sometimes a cops and robbers drama, but I chose two that are more on the horror slasher side. So the first one up is Dario Argento's third movie, which is Four Flies on Grey Velvet. It's also the third movie in his Animal trilogy, which was The Bird with the Crystal Plumage and The Cat of Nine Tails, and then Four Flies on Grey Velvet. It was going to be his last thriller, and then he came back to the genre with 1975's Profondo Rosso, or Deep Red. Four Flies on Grey Velvet it's cool. It's not my favorite Argento. It's a little bit of a cheat. I hadn't seen it since high school, but having rewatched it, I remembered absolutely nothing about it. The basic premise is a musician is being stalked through like a night and a half in Italy, and he finally finds and confronts the stalker. And in this little scuffle, one of them gets stabbed and dies. And then at the same time, a different person is stalking the musician and sees the whole thing happen and takes pictures. So then the rest of the movie is the musician kind of being blackmailed while trying to figure out who's blackmailing him and who took the pictures. All said and done, it's a beautiful 4K from Severin. I would say if you're new to Argento, maybe this is a little bit further down the list, but if you've liked Deep Red and The Bird with the Crystal Plumage or Cat of Nine Tails, it's definitely worth watching. There's a really, really plain and creepy mask in this movie, which I really, really enjoyed.
Cool. I have not seen that. I recently saw Deep Red for the first time, and I've seen a few other Argentos, but that sounds fun. Bobby, are you big on Argento?
I love Suspiria.
Sure.
I'm not deep into his discography. I've seen Inferno. I have not seen Deep Red. I really want to see it. And Phenomenera? What's it?
Phenomena.
It's just Phenomena?
Phenomena.
Yeah. Okay. Phenomena. The Jennifer Connelly one, I haven't seen it, but it's like on my list of the next one to watch.
It's really great. It's like weird kind of mid-80s Argento. Not as many people like it as much, but it's one of my favorites.
Okay, I'm going to check that out. I kind of wait until the autumn to do deep dives of good horror movies. I might do a trip to Amoeba and pick up a few of his and keep them in my pile.
I have Phenomena and Tenebrae in my shame pile currently. I've seen Phenomena, but not Tenebrae.
Tenebrae I think it's my favorite giallo that he made. It's really awesome. And the last 10 minutes of that movie are fucking phenomenal.
Which US distributor has been responsible for putting out all those nice editions?
Synapse did.
That's right. They did Suspiria.
And Phenomena and Tenebrae. but because he's an international filmmaker, there's a lot of different versions of his movies out there.
And then Arrow did Cat o' Nine Tails and Bird with the Crystal Plumage, right, in 4K?
Yes, yeah. And Deep Red.
And Deep Red. Bobby, hit us.
I'm going to hit you with my best shot. I revisited a classic that I've never seen, and it's been packaged and sitting deep, deep in the dark. Akira.
Ooh.
Nice.
The 1988 cyberpunk masterpiece that I have overlooked shamefully.
It's so good.
I know. It's just a sight for sore eyes. It's colorful. It's raw. It's like dramatic. It's the action, and looking at the animation, you can see it as a signpost in the international ripple that it caused, changing how, the US and other markets consumed anime. And yeah, it predates The Matrix in such a fun way. Like, you can see its references throughout all these different types of stories that we're seeing since it came out. Gosh, what is it? 30 plus years ago. 36 years ago.
The score of that movie with, as you said, Bobby, the animation style, it's such an incredible complete package.
Which version do you have, Bobby?
I have the Funimation 25th Anniversary Edition. It is a Blu-ray DVD combo pack. So it's dated. It goes back to, gosh, I should have done more research since I picked it up. I don't know when this disc came out. It was probably like, it was the 25th anniversary, but I don't know. So it's a decade.
I honestly almost bought the 4K today.
Didn't they just come out with the 4K?
It's been a while. It's one of the first ones I remember getting, yeah.
Yeah, and I was at Barnes & Noble today, and they had a copy of it on 4K, and it was a pretty good price, and I almost picked it up, but I held off.
I think mine's out of print. It's like a thick, kind of arrowy style box.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, like you say, Bobby, just so influential. It reminds me of like Blade Runner or something, where it just kind of, the way it looks was absorbed by so many things.
Oh, yeah. And just even points of view and editing, like thinking about depth and these metropolises in a way that takes it even a step further. It's such a, like, I don't mean to sound like just a movie geek, but what a pleasure it was to prioritize it.
You've had it for a while?
Yeah, I've had it since probably 2011, 12.
Wow. Deep in the shame pile. Wow. And you've never seen it?
No, I had never seen it. I had seen clips and I've read about it, and I understand the role it plays. And I'm not huge into anime unless it's very mainstream. Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli, Paprika. If it gets like buzz on a basic level,
yeah,
I'll watch it. But otherwise, like, I won't find a lot of the stuff that huge groups of people absolutely love. And it's really amazing to see how deep and how expansive anime is.
Marty, what else you got for us?
So here's the thing. I kind of have a two-part answer, and I'm sorry for cheating. The first one, I just don't know what to say about it. I watched the 1981 film Possession.
Oh, wow.
My heart is aflutter.
So, directed by Andrzej Zulawski. He's Polish. Forgive me. I'm pronouncing that like shit, I'm sure. Starring Sam Neill and Isabelle Adjani. Possession is basically like Marriage Story if the little fucking baby from Eraserhead was in Marriage Story and you were having a nightmare while watching. Have you guys seen this movie?
I have not. I really, really want to.
I'm obsessed with it. I am like, this movie rocked a huge part of last year for me because I splurged and got a lot of different. I'm obsessed with Possession, but I'll let you talk. How do you describe it? You did describe it.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Sam, you have got to see this movie. It is awesome.
I will, yeah.
It's so mind-boggling, and it's been so suppressed for so long, but it was a Cannes Film Festival. Isabella Adjani won Best Actress for it, and they've cut it so many different times for different audiences because like it couldn't be released in the US the way it was exhibited internationally because it's so gross and intense and like also deeply politically charged.
Yeah.
And shot in very upsetting conditions. Not to poo-poo it, but it's a complicated movie and it's amazing.
Sam Neill has been on record saying like he barely escaped with his sanity, and there are reports that Isabella Adjani like attempted suicide after this movie. Have you heard that?
Her public statement now is like, she was younger in her life and she is good. She is glad she's had the rest of her life to recover from it. Like that's how bad it was. And you watch her performance, it's one of the best things ever committed to film.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah.
It's like Maria Falconetti in Passion of Joan of Arc. And then
Yeah.
you have Isabella Adjani in Possession. And I'm sorry, it's abuse, but like, man, what a rock star. What a talent.
It's something else. I don't know. Like, I feel like I don't have my head wrapped around it, which is why I was hesitant to really get into it. But I watched the Umbrella 4K of it that came out recently. I know there's rumors that Second Sight is going to be doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple different releases of that one right now, and it's all over the place.
A couple 4Ks of it?
Yeah, there's the Umbrella one. There's maybe it's just a couple other Blu-rays, but I know that there's a couple different companies who have had the rights to it and have put out versions of it before.
I have 2 different copies. One is the Australian one. I think that's Umbrella,
yes,
correct?
It is.
Yeah.
So I have that one, which we can talk about its packaging if you want, but I have at least is the Blu-ray packaging nice? Because the 4K nice? Because the Blu-ray I've got feedback for.
Oh, really?
And then the other one is beautiful, but it's a box set. I got it on eBay and it's gorgeous.
It's a nice package. It's sort of a thicker 4K, plastic case with a slip sleeve around it.
Sure.
The artwork is, talk about posters. This poster is amazing. It's this top half of a nude woman with her head tilted back and her hair sort of spilling all over the place. And her hair sort of is like snake-like. And then there's one kind of serpentine tentacle kind of wrapping itself out from the back of her hair that's like a different color, all, illustrated.
It's Medusa. And did you know that I think that there's a special feature that is about the design and how that artwork was. It was like his former partner or one of his wives or, did the artwork for that, having watched the movie. And so that image, and probably not getting the details correct, but purchase this set wherever you can, because the special features, all of them I've watched them all. They're all incredible.
Yeah, this it's basically just about the disintegration of a marriage. It's very surreal and body horror. And there's, I sort of knew it was sort of a sexual, psychological, intense experience that I was getting into just based on its reputation. And I started watching it, and there's a credit in the opening credits that just says "The Creature" by so-and-so. So right away there's going to be a creature of some kind in this movie, which I really appreciated, like learning at the very top of it, because it sort of sets your brain up for what might be coming. Yeah, you just have to see it. I don't know. I gotta spend more time with this movie, but I really, really liked it.
I'm kicking myself for missing the screening of it at the Hollywood last year.
Oh yeah, God, and with a crowd in a theater, this would be amazing.
Okay, so you cheated. So what's your other title?
Yeah. So I'll keep it brief because we talked about that one. But I watched last night, Kim and I watched White Heat from 1949. This is a Raoul Walsh film starring James Cagney. Have you guys seen this, White Heat?
I don't think so.
Oh, yes. I love it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, my God, this movie rips. It is like...
It's so aggressive.
Yes.
It feels like it came out on some level, like right now. The pace is just absolutely breakneck. And it is the story of this gangster played by James Cagney, who is ruthless and brutal and runs basically like a heist gang, and ends up in prison for like a really low level crime that he confesses to in order to like get out of a bigger one. And a police officer is sent undercover as another prisoner in order to, learn information from Cagney's character, and then ends up getting sort of wrapped into his gang while being undercover. Shades of like Departed, for sure. Movies like that are in there. but I just couldn't believe how entertaining it was in a contemporary sense. You know, old films can be as entertaining as new films, but this felt entertaining in the same way. Like it held my attention in a way that a lot of times, you know, older films don't. Would you agree with that, Bobby and Kim?
I mean, definitely. I mean, James Cagney's presence is just...
You hit the nail on the head.
I mean, I've seen this film before, so this was Kurt's first time. He grabs you. He's so interesting.
He was a late one for me to appreciate too. It was kind of once I saw all the different kinds of movies he made, like...
Well, The Public Enemy is one of my favorites. I mean, it's his most well-known film.
But it feels so much older too than this.
It does.
Like you look at the span of his career just in those are like 10 years apart? Maybe 20.
Yeah.
15.
Yeah, and then Yankee Doodle Dandy. He
exactly.
is incredible. Tap dancer, the stair dance.
Wow, really?
Is just the most it will stay in your head forever. It is
like this guy, man.
He's so talented. It's so crazy.
He plays the gangster, he plays in musicals, he plays like...
Yeah, he's multi-dimensional.
I mean, he's so expressive in this. Like, his style feels very...
He's a modern actor in a way that even, like, Marlon Brando was a little too specific.
Right.
In an amazing way. But, like, man, Cagney just...
I thought of him a lot, though, actually. I thought of Brando watching him. Sam, I highly recommend that you check this out. I think you'd love it.
Who put the disc out?
It's a Warner Brothers disc. It's not archives or anything, just a standard WB disc.
I'll put it on the list.
And shout out to my friend David who recommended this to me a while back. I finally checked it out and dude, the shit.
Criterion just put out a movie with his...
Yeah. Thank you.
The Roaring Twenties that I haven't checked out yet.
Oh, I didn't realize that's Raoul Walsh. Oh, no, that's James Cagney.
James Cagney.
I see.
He's being re-released in a new Criterion.
Awesome. That makes me really want to check that out. I thought you were going to say High Sierra, which was recently put out by Criterion, which is a Humphrey Bogart film.
Exactly.
Oh, I just got that. Yeah.
That's Raoul Walsh as well, the director. And that is also great. So highly recommend. Samuel, what is your second pick?
Okay, so my second giallo was from Vinegar Syndrome, a Canadian-Italian co-production from 1984 called Evil Judgment. I want to start this off by saying I love Vinegar Syndrome a lot. This one was not necessarily for me. It had some amazing kills and special effects. The special effects work was actually done by Michelle Burke, who ended up winning an Academy Award for his work on Bram Stoker's Dracula, the Francis Ford Coppola movie.
Love it.
And honestly, the disc looks great. There's film grain throughout. The scenes in nature look really, really good. Colors really pop on it. But oh my God, I was bored out of my fucking mind during this movie. It's one of those movies that's about 94 minutes and it felt like an eternity. The script is bad. The acting is not great.
What's the premise?
I'm going to read some of the back of the box for you guys because it gets a little lost. Aspiring young dancer Janet is desperate to leave her dead-end waitressing job. So after a fight with her sleazy boyfriend Dino, and with the encouragement of her friend April, she decides to try her hand at prostitution. The two women set off to spend the night with one of April's regular clients, a strange old man named Ron, who lives in a vast, secluded old mansion. But before proceedings can get underway, the house is plunged into darkness, and a razor-wielding assailant brutally slashes the throats of both Ron and April.
Sounds good.
Yeah, you'd think. It's not unfortunate that Argento got big and popular. It's unfortunate that everyone looked at his movies, which can seem simplistic sometimes, and thought, hey, I can do that. And so there's a flood of movies from the late 70s to the mid 80s. This is 84 that just thought they were going to be able to rip off his style and what he was able to do. And they're just kind of boring. You know, some of them are really good. There's a diamond in the rough every once in a while, but I will not be keeping this one. We'll put it that way.
Bobby, what about you? What's your second pick?
It's a bigger beast of a set. This was one of the damaged ones. It was one I had to replace, but I never watched it in the first place.
From the Rain in the Closet?
From the Rain in the Closet, the epic storms that washed my sins away along with other things. I had to repurchase it. It's G-Kids Shout Factory box set of the Cartoon Saloon's Irish Folklore trilogy. Are any of you familiar with it?
I don't know this.
No.
not at all.
Okay, so this is 3 different movies. It's a beautiful box set. It's a little complicated. It has some issues with the discs, but it's 3 movies, 4 discs. They were 3 Academy Award nominated movies for Best Animated Films. But the box set is beautiful. The 4th disc is packed with really lovely extras about the 3 movies. But the 3 films are Secret of Kells, Song of the Sea, and Wolfwalkers, which was a Netflix release. So I had seen the first 2, but I watched Wolfwalkers, and it's a beautiful movie. I highly recommend it. I would say you can watch all 3 of them in any order. They're lovely, mythic Irish films. I guess I went on an animated dive recently, but Wolfwalkers is available on Netflix, but as a physical media enthusiast, I decided to wait and watch it when it was available on physical media.
Yeah, the animation looks beautiful.
I recommend all 3 equally for different reasons. They're beautiful. I mean, they're great to watch with mature kids, I would say.
Nice. Okay, so imagine that the creepy music is playing, okay?
You got it.
Do you guys hear that?
No.
Oh, no, imagine, Bobby.
Oh. Sorry, I was like... I missed the I imagine. I was imagining so deeply that I thought you were testing. No, I don't hear the music, Kurt.
Okay, here we go. Do you guys hear that?
I do.
Oh my God, I'm so scared.
Things are getting spooky. Here we go. I wish for Eyes Wide Shut on 4K.
I wish for A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K and Blu-ray from Arrow Video.
I wish for Ingmar Bergman's Face to Face on Blu-ray, please.
We wished.
Amen.
Amen. Bobby, is that not included in that giant Criterion box of every... Really?
No.
I thought that was all of his films. Every Ingmar Bergman film?
No, it is...
That's what I thought too.
No, they cannot say it is the complete works of this artist. It's leaving out a few. And Face to Face it's a glaring omission. And I am deeply saddened that the licensing rights for that movie are so out of step with the others. It was last released on DVD on Olive film, which it no longer exists.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
And it's a poor restoration. It's just kind of a sloppy, I'm not sure how it was distributed before that, but it has played such a pivotal role in my life. And Kurt, both of you mentioned the film posters in your house, and I have a poster of Face to Face among a few others. And it's the one that I wish would have a proper release. Like, you missed it in a box set. I think Paramount owns the rights, but it's played such a role in pop culture too. Like in Annie Hall, it's playing in the background when they're going to see A Sorrow in the Pity. It's a weirder Ingmar Bergman movie, but it needs a proper restoration too.
Mm-hmm.
Distributors, get on that.
Come on, Criterion.
That's my pitch.
Kurt, what did you chose Eyes Wide Shut again?
Why'd you say again? Did I do that already?
No, I feel like we just talk about this movie
all the time. I'm trying to get you to finally see it.
Wait, what?
You haven't seen it? Are you kidding me?
Sam? You haven't?
Make that your homework.
Doug, yeah. All right. I'm too busy watching every fucking cut of JFK.
Hey, this is where Warner Brothers get on that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope a boutique label does it, but I'll take anything.
Oh, Criterion, wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
My Nicole Kidman Criterion collection to die for. The Others.
I feel like it's got to be coming soon.
Yeah. Eyes Wide Shut, I mean, if you're not familiar, is Stanley Kubrick's last movie. It stars Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise and involves orgies and a lot of jealousy and paranoia inside of a relationship.
You love this movie.
It's just one of my all-time favorite movies. One of the dreamiest kind of meta celebrity.
So much labor went into it too. Like it took so long. It was so scrutinized over.
It was one of the longest productions, I think, on record.
Wow.
It ended Tom and Nicole.
Incredible stuff.
It's hypnotic.
It's on Blu-ray, but it's not the greatest transfer ever, so I'm hoping.
I wish for that too.
I find it weird that I never saw that one.
I know. Drives me nuts, Sam.
Well, it's like sometimes a movie gets away from you and you're kind of aware of it just from being alive in the world. And it's like, okay, yeah, I haven't seen it, but I feel like part of me has. I just need to sit down and watch it.
I mean, if the Hollywood ever does it, hit that up.
Yeah, I would be there in a heartbeat.
But you chose a great pick, Sam, A Nightmare on Elm Street.
I mean, what can I really say about this movie that hasn't already been said? I just want a better edition of it. I have like their New Line Basic release of it that came out a billion years ago. Honestly, my spine is kind of like sun faded and it annoys the piss out of me when I look at it.
Oh.
So I would like to just have a different edition of it in general. It's just weird that out of all the big horror franchises, we don't have a 4K of that yet. I would take a box set with some of the sequels, which I don't really like, but, Arrow, give me something at this point.
I was going to ask you if you think that that's more likely.
Yeah, I do. I think that, like, with Arrow having just put out the 4 Psycho movies and the 4 Hellraiser movies, those sequels are known, but they're not as popular as A Nightmare on Elm Street, and it would be fun if they did a box set. I mean, I really only want 1 and 3, but I would take the other ones if that meant getting a 4K of the first one.
Scream Factory. I feel like they too, because I think they did Friday the 13th.
They did.
And Child's Play, right?
And Child's Play. This is an issue with Warner Brothers. Time Warner, or whatever it's called now.
Yeah.
Like Eyes Wide Shut, they have not handed over too many rights.
Shout/Scream did such a lovely job with the Friday the 13th box set, the Halloween box set, and then they did the solo releases of the Halloween movies in those nice kind of like thick slip sleeves.
The best.
They're like almost matte. They're really, really nice. And it's like, I would love, please, somebody heed our call and just release it already.
All right, that is it for our episode. Thank you all for returning to our show. We really appreciate it, and we'll be back next week. Thank you very much to Patrick Laban for our wonderful music. Thank you to Kimberly for producing. Please leave us a review and a rating wherever you're hearing this show. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Bobby.
Thanks, gang.
Thank you all.
Goodbye, Kim.
Goodbye, Kim.
Au revoir.